Hello, ladies and gents. This is US invasion plans against Venezuela explained by channel aitelly. This is interesting video because this video was literally dropped, bam, just published at the same time Delta Force was like attacking Venezuela, bombing the shit out of it, trying to capture Maduro, and then captured Maduro. This video was dropped right then, literally around 20-30 minutes. And yeah, because of that, this video got blown up. Because imagine you hear like, oh, there are like, from social media, you hear bombs are dropping, like you see explosion, and suddenly go to YouTube. And you see this video literally a few minutes ago. People are like, how the fuck this happened? How the fuck did USA give out plans to this YouTuber? Like, we want to do this, and he posted, this is insane. It's 2.3 million views. Like, okay, it's not like he doesn't get views. He gets this around views, obviously. But for all the Venezuela videos I've seen, 2.3 million views is like big views. Cappy has something like 5 or 6 million views. So this has that level of views in just few days. Because I guess people just assume like this is about now, the bombing that is happening. Let's watch this one.
Why is the United States actively preparing for war in the Southern Caribbean? To answer that, we have to look at the massive reactivation of Cold War infrastructure that has been dormant for decades. What is happening at the Roosevelt Roads Naval Station in Puerto Rico? Once the largest U.S. naval base in the world, this facility was closed in 2004. But reports indicate it is being rapidly brought back online. The U.S. military is turning this civilian zone back into a forward operating base. And what about the Henry E. Rolson Airport? Located in the U.S. Virgin Islands, this isn't just for tourists anymore. It is being transformed into a logistics hub to support heavy military transport. But why is the U.S. doing this right now? There are two main triggers. Is it because of Russia and China? Yes. Intelligence suggests that Moscow and Beijing are not just visiting Venezuela, they are attempting to set up permanent military bases. The U.S. sees this as an existential threat, a violation of the Monroe Doctrine that they cannot ignore. Is it about the oil? Absolutely. We are already seeing the precursor to war. U.S. Coast Guard helicopters have been spotted intercepting and seizing oil tankers leaving Venezuelan waters. They are choking off the regime's cash flow before the real shooting starts.
I think people are confusing oil with, like commodity. It's not a commodity, it's necessity. It's one of the most instrumental thing in geopolitics. So it's not like, oh, US just want that oil and that money. That's a side effect. No, if they stop this oil, they're stopping Russia, China, hurting Russia, China, and it sends a lot of messages as well. So it's not just about getting the oil, it's about disrupting it. Oil is the reason why wars happen. Oil is the reason why geopolitics is shaped, right? So saying it's just about oil, like you're basically saying it's just about geopolitics at that point.
If an attack happens, what ships are already in position near Puerto Rico? The U.S. Navy has assembled a specific kill chain. They're using the USS Jason Dunham Arleigh Burke-class destroyer. Its role isn't just guided missile destroyer, it is also an electronic warfare machine. The Jason Dunham is there to jam Venezuelan communications and blind their coastal radars. They are the first line of attack to confuse the enemy. And why is the U.S. Stockdale there? The Stockdale is the shield. Equipped with advanced Aegis missile defense systems, its job is to shoot down any anti-ship missiles.
Stockdale has Aegis in it? There you go, game over.
Venezuela fires back at the fleet. But how do we know this is an invasion and not just a blockade? Because of the USS Iwo Jima. It is a massive amphibious assault ship. You don't bring the ship unless you plan to put boots on the ground. It is designed to launch waves of Marines onto a hostile beach.
We know why they brought that, not to invade. That is so like weak shit. Invade, ugh. It's like I'm going to use hammer. No. I have precise tool for that. And that tool's name is Delta Force. Why would I invade? I'm just going to grab that president and bye.
But the US isn't just attacking from the north. They are using the island nation of Trinidad and Tobago to close the back door. But how are they using Trinidad? The US Navy is using these waters to blockade the Gulf of Paria. Here is USS Gravely, it is Hunter. The Gravely acts as a sentinel, ensuring no Venezuelan submarines or fast boats can escape into the Atlantic to threaten shipping lanes. And what is the US Lake Erie doing? This Ticonderoga-class cruiser is the boss. It serves as the air defense commander for the entire operation, coordinating the movements of every ship and plane from its high-tech command center. But ships are slow, so how will the US deliver the first strike? This is where the air power comes in. The B-52 Stratofortresses won't even land in the Caribbean. They will fly straight from the continental United States, deliver their massive payload of cruise.
Okay, let's assume that Venezuela's S-300s actually work. Isn't B-52 very old where like even S-300 is good enough to attack it? I mean, obviously the way they attacked, this is before, this video was dropped when they attacked Venezuela. So this doesn't have that information, obviously. So we now know that obviously they attacked the radars and use anti-radiation missiles and just destroyed their ability to detect something like, like AC-130 and shit like that. Or B-52 as the video showed, like they just destroyed their ability. So like doesn't matter what you have, if you just handicapped like that, the end. But let's just say they missed one or two S-200. Isn't that a risk that B-52 can be shot down? You have something decent. You probably have B-2s near Florida or something. Why not use them? I mean, in the past, people told me like military only uses the minimum requirement they think they need to use. So they're not going to use B-2 if they can use something like B-52 or B-1 Lancer, shit like that.
Missiles and return home without ever touching the ground. What about the B-1 Lancer? These supersonic bombers will be used for fast attacks. They can swoop in at low altitude and high speed to destroy hardened targets before the enemy knows they are there. But where will the bulk of the Air Force fly from? This is why Roosevelt Roads in Ciba, Puerto Rico is so critical. It puts tactical aircraft just minutes away from the target. The MQ-9 Reapers will loiter over Venezuela for hours, tracking mobile missile launchers and taking them out with Hellfire missiles the moment they move. While the F-35s will be the door kickers. Their job is to penetrate Venezuelan airspace undetected and destroy the S-300 air defense batteries so the other planes can fly safely.
See, this video is so good that this is how they did it. They did destroy these radars with anti-radiation missiles and shit like that, S-300s and radars and everything. So this is how they did it.
Here are VU-22 Osprey speed and versatility.
They use Chinooks, which is like, I guess, older version of Osprey, but like more reliable and like, in a way, with a reputation, badass.
Rotor aircraft will launch from the USS Iwo Jima and Puerto Rico to insert special forces teams deep behind enemy lines. But all that firepower will need fuel, so the KC-130s, these tankers will orbit near the combat zone, allowing the F-35s and other jets to stay in the fight for hours without returning to base. And finally, why the C-17 cargo transports for logistics? You can't fight a war without supplies. The C-17s will be flying nonstop into Roosevelt Roads and Henry E. Rolson Airport, bringing in the tanks, the ammo, and the troops needed to sustain the attack. So, is the attack inevitable? When you see the bombers on standby, the amphibious ships in position.
I like it. Is the attack inevitable? As soon as he said that, boom. There was a massive boom in Venezuela. Imagine the guy, aitelly, who's making this video. Was like, okay, what is my video doing? Huh? Oh, look, it's surprisingly doing well. What's happening? Just opening like social media. Oh my God, what I just said. I jinxed it. What I just said is happening.
And the forward base is being reactivated. It looks like the decision has already been made. We will take a look at different scenarios and strategies from both sides. The U.S. Navy's destroyers, submarines, amphibious ships, Marines, and P-8 Poseidon aircraft are positioned near Venezuela with a multifaceted strategy designed to confront both the Venezuelan military and the powerful drug cartels operating within the country. From the U.S. perspective, the operation combines overwhelming surveillance, targeted strikes, rapid amphibious assaults, and maritime interdiction to neutralize threats and apply pressure on the Maduro regime. The destroyers provide advanced air, sea, and missile defenses while maintaining the capability to launch precision cruise missile strikes against strategic government and military targets deep within Venezuela. By maintaining a vigilant missile defense posture, these ships are prepared to intercept any hostile air or missile threats. They also leverage anti-submarine warfare assets to secure the task group's maritime perimeter against underwater threats posed by Venezuelan naval forces. In surface combat, the destroyers defend against militia boats or Venezuelan naval vessels trying to disrupt blockades or amphibious operations. As the name suggests, destroyer, it is equipped to carry around 90 missiles with this vertical launching system, a Mark 45 deck gun position at the front, followed by close combat phalanx and a CRAM missile system. But that's not all. It also houses Harpoon anti-ship missiles and torpedo tubes for threats underneath. And if that's not enough, there's a submarine hunter-killer Seahawk equipped with sonar and torpedoes featured in the upcoming video. These warships are designed for destruction and defense, but they are not suitable for invasion. But how do you launch a land invasion from the seas? The answer is these amphibious assault ships are specialized warships designed to deploy and support ground forces during military operations.
I like how he showed literally like boats leaving and people like how Normandy, they're gonna breach it. Why? America has helicopter. I have 100 Chinooks here. Why would I do this? This is the level of flex America does it. Obviously, America didn't invade it. They just did special operation. But even if they had invaded, like, would they have done it like this? They're probably like, okay, let's just send, Ospreys and like Chinooks from like, our carrier rather than doing this shit, like amphibious ship. Let's just send them.
Particularly in hostile or contested environments. They resemble small aircraft carriers but are primarily focused on launching and supporting helicopters, vertical or short takeoff and landing VTOL aircraft like the MV-22 Osprey and F-35B Lightning, and amphibious landing craft. The amphibious ships carry thousands of Marines trained for quick expeditionary raids and large-scale amphibious assaults. These Marines would execute precision strikes on cartel strongholds, government command centers, or key coastal infrastructure. Their urban combat training equips them to seize airports, communication hubs, and other critical points, potentially working in concert with opposition forces inside Venezuela. Here comes the nuclear-powered attack submarine operates covertly and silently along Venezuela's maritime approaches.
It's literally, I'm here as well. And everybody's like, no, we don't need you, but I'm here. I'll kill anything and everything that moves. I'm a nuclear submarine.
Collects vital intelligence by intercepting communications and monitoring naval activity. It can deliver surprise, long-range missile strikes to disrupt regime command and control, jam air defenses, or destroy military facilities. Its presence also deters any third-party naval reinforcements from countries like Russia or Iran, complicating any attempt to bolster the Maduro regime. The P-8 Poseidon aircraft extend the task force's eyes and ears over a vast area.
P-8 Poseidon, submarine killer. Yeah. Is it named? I just watched the Cappy video, which I already posted. If you didn't watch it, watch it. But did they name this Poseidon because Russia has a Poseidon nuclear torpedo missile, super weapon, whatever? So that, fuck it, there you go, Poseidon. So we kill your Poseidon submarine. Is that what it is?
They conduct continuous intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance flights deep into Venezuelan airspace and waters, tracking air defense installations, military movements, and cartel smuggling operations. These aircraft work closely with surface and underwater naval assets to designate targets for missile strikes and monitor submarine activity. They are also capable of electronic warfare operations to disrupt Venezuelan communications and command networks, limiting the regime's operational responsiveness. But why is a single submarine a huge threat to an entire navy? The answer is these...
You know how fucked up this is? That biggest and most powerful cartels probably gonna flex like how powerful we are by showing how much land they have, how many people they have, how many infrastructure they have. And the most fucked up thing about that is US military's one ship probably costs more than all of that combined. How do you fight US military? This is the thing with cartels and any kind of like mafia level shit. Stay at your level. Do shit at your level. But if military gets involved, things just went up a group. Things become something way more than you can handle. Especially if it's US military.
These torpedoes. So let's take a look at how it works. Pressurized air propels the torpedo toward its target. Step number 2. A piston engine with propellers maximizes the torpedo's speed. Step number 3. It trails a wire plugged into the weapons systems aboard the sub using data to navigate. Step number 4. The torpedo accelerates to 32 knots over 35 miles an hour with a range of 8 miles or 12 kilometers. Step number 5. As it nears its target, the wire is cut and its sonar takes over navigation. Step number 6. If a torpedo misses its target, it can circle back and starts hunting the target with its sonar. This one torpedo has the explosive power of 1,200 pounds of TNT, and I guess you do not want to be at the receiving end of this weapon. But reports suggest that new breed of Barracuda torpedo or supercavitating are going to be the latest upgrades.
So half a kiloton, that's a powerful torpedo. That would definitely, yeah, submarine's gone.
But how would Venezuela's counter the U.S. command of the seas? Well, the military and cartels prepare to defend the regime and preserve their control through a mix of conventional and asymmetric tactics. The Venezuelan military, although smaller and technologically
all that Venezuelan military, man. Oh, Maduro's in fine hands.
less advanced, relies on knowledge of local geography, layered air defense sites, and large-scale militia mobilization.
There you go.
Reportedly numbering over 4.5
Oh
million
yeah, 4
to counter
million.
amphibious assaults and defend key infrastructure. The military employs coastal and naval patrols to challenge U.S. naval operations and uses missile systems to threaten incoming aircraft and ships. The Venezuelan cartels, deeply intertwined with some military elements, use their familiarity with the terrain, fast boats, and smuggling networks to complicate maritime interdiction. Their tactics include evading surveillance through irregular routes, blending with civilian traffic, and leveraging the dense jumbled terrain for cover against raids. Thus, the likely conflict scenario involves layered U.S. efforts to monitor and interdict cartel trafficking by leveraging aerial surveillance and naval interdiction, combined with submarine strikes and missile attacks against regime military infrastructure to degrade their response capability. While U.S. amphibious forces would act decisively to seize strategic points, suppress resistance, and isolate Maduro's loyalist elements. This is how Venezuela would mount a hybrid defense combining conventional military resistance, local militia networks for asymmetric warfare, and cartel tactics to sustain illicit operations and slow U.S. advances. This complex confrontation reflects both sides' strategic priorities. The U.S. pushes to dismantle narcotics networks and exert regime change pressure with overwhelming technological and tactical superiority, while Venezuela relies on numerical militia mobilization, intimate knowledge of the terrain, and asymmetric tactics to counterbalance its technological and firepower disadvantage. And finally, here comes Russia. Russia is likely to...
You know what? How fucked up this is. When you're such a, let's say you're a UFC champion. Maybe it's not an apt, like example, but let's just go with it. Somebody just comes and slaps you and walk away. Yeah, you didn't die. That doesn't mean you're not a fighter or something, but you know how embarrassing that shit is. Maduro was flexing all this, Russian weapons, this and that, and anything like how a leader usually flexes. And Delta Force literally came, grabbed him, put him in those blinders and in pajamas, and literally grabbed his ass, and his military did nothing because they probably hate him or something. I don't know. Okay, Venezuela is not the biggest power, but they had something at least, and there was literally no resistance. Do you know how embarrassing that shit is? After this, I don't even know what to say. This doesn't mean Venezuela has no capabilities. It means they weren't ready enough to do it, or maybe they didn't have incentive to do it because they hated Maduro or something.
Supply Venezuela with long-range drones like the Shahed and Geran drones. The drones could be deployed by Venezuela for covert strikes against U.S. assets, leveraging their loitering capabilities to conduct precision attacks on airfields, command centers, or logistics hubs. This would be part of a broader strategy to counter U.S. military...
I'm glad he brought this up because I think this is the biggest reason why they took Maduro. U.S. is the most powerful country in the world, can do anything, but drones are just one thing that they're developing the technology, but small drones detecting and stopping them is kind of hard. So some of them will hit. Can you imagine news that Venezuela's Iranian drones destroyed some infrastructure in mainland US? Do you know how ridiculous that shit would be? Just thinking right now just feels weird. That could have happened if things escalated. So Trump's like, that shit can't happen. Grab Maduro and dictating what Venezuela can or can't do. I think this is one of the biggest reasons. The US can deflect hypersonic missile at a level, I guess one of the most powerful hypersonic missiles that big countries have, right? No defense can really stop it. But most of the weapons that are out there, US has answer to that. Drones are so small and so mobile. US is developing technology right now. They have already technology that is developed, but they didn't mass produce it and give to everyone in country. That is yet to happen. So until that happens, drones are a threat.
Pressure and project asymmetric threat capabilities. We also made a deep dive into the sea, air, and land components of the nuclear triad. So subscribe for more videos.
There you go. This video has been insane. Some of them shits were accurate. That is how US did by attacking S-300 and things like that. That just makes sense. But But they didn't try to invade it, because why would they do that? Just grab material and leave. Why do invasion like Iraq? We don't have to. That's the point here. But yeah. Well, if you like my reason, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.